Hey, hey, Michael, how's it going, man?
Hey Yuri,
Hey, Michael, hello, hello, how are you?
hello. Good. Uh, Quite busy.
What's happening?
Well, standard stuff. Uh, Work. Also need to fix some things in my flat. Still busy.
No, I see, I see.
Yeah.
Is there anything like serious with the flat?
No, it's just every single week. Something, it's I get 10 years old
Mm.
and um, particular devices are just dying one by one.
I
You
see.
know,
Yeah.
fridge, fan, and one by one. Now it is the windows, they are in the wood, I fix
Mm.
them. Or I can pay to someone, but I don't want. Mm. So I rather do it by myself. YouTube is full
No,
of videos how to do this stuff.
might be involving, so yeah,
Yeah,
but you want to be in full control, I guess. Mm. How's Apsa?
good. Actually, this week is also extremely busy because we are deploying production, upgrade all clusters, and
Mm.
basically, we have some deadlines because of freezings, etc. And basically, we are working till night. I guess Dinar will not
Oh,
join today because he's fully in it. There's still some troubles because sometimes the things are doesn't work as expected and it needs to be fixed and do some additional PR. So Dinar is
got it.
working every single day till midnight, 2 a.m.
Oh, that's
etc.
harsh.
With the rest of guys. So
Mm. Is he leading the team now, Dinar?
sorry.
Is Dinar leading the team now? I
Yeah,
heard
yeah,
some LinkedIn update. Mm.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. He's doing it. Um, Quite good, or very good, very
Mm.
helpful.
Very nice. Yeah, the dude is great. So yeah, hope it's very good for the team.
Yeah.
All right, it's already 4 minutes past, so looks like it will be only two of us. And thanks a lot for joining. I'll quickly share my stuff with agenda. So please add yourself to the attendee list. I will
Yeah.
shortcut it for you. So that's it. Yeah, CNCF Security Award. You've seen that stuff.
Yeah.
My colleague was in person in
Uh-huh.
KubeCon, so he managed to pick up the award for us. So then
Awesome.
he will return to Switzerland, and he can send us a package, maybe with a frame and stuff and socks. And
Awesome.
yeah, there's also I was pinged together with Sergi by organizers, and they actually for each badge they're giving some separate swag and a $200 award in some form of coupons, I
Wow.
guess. Yeah, so like it's pretty good amount of budget.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like by default, let's upload it to Urge because he did most of the heavy lifting. I guess like we can then coordinate somehow how we can spend this stuff for I don't know a project or somehow like I don't know. We can probably find some ways how to utilize it. I don't know yet like which form of this money will be shared with,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely all swag Irji
Mm-hmm.
deserves the swag for sure as he was driving the all the slam activities pretty much last
Mm-hmm.
minute, right? So yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and just maybe to highlight, so we earned 3 out of the 5 badges, and so like there is still like some activities that we can enhance. It's mostly like a documentary stuff, and if I remember correctly, there's also documentation how you can make a foreign users a clear documented way how to make this provenance, like how to validate signature of the release, for example, this kind of stuff. So how to make this attestation. So yeah, that might be like a long-term stuff that we can fix and be prepared for the next year. Overall, great experience, right? So very nice event, super useful, and a nice from organization standpoint. Oh, Vitor is joining, amazing.
Hey, Tom.
Hey,
Hi,
Vitor, welcome.
good afternoon. Sorry for being
Hello. No worries. Thanks for joining. How are you doing?
struggling a lot with our GCP and multi-cloud approach, but yeah, but it's a challenge and it's something new and something to learn. So yeah,
Cool.
it's quite fun, but quite hard as well.
Well, multi-cloud is not supposed to be easy, right?
Yeah. So yeah,
Cool.
it's a challenge.
Cool. So let's continue with an agenda, and we have a special one for you later on, Vitor. So
Yeah.
embrace. Yeah, so we just discussed that we got the award and CNCF Security Slam Award. So with the participation, it was mostly driven by Ergy, with a small coordination support from myself and Bradley. You know Bradley, my Abang colleague. He was in person at KubeCon in Chicago, and he was super nice and kind to pick up the award for us. So soon we will receive the frame. So yeah, and there is additional swag that is coming. Yeah, to the technical stuff. I have this Cloudflare support ready. It actually went a little bit beyond than like initial plan. So it was originally requested by one of the community members, right? I know my response, like, you want the stuff, like please test the stuff, and I'll just you'll drop in some initial implementation. But eventually it's kind of evolved because you cannot much proceed with implementation without testing stuff as usual, right? So I basically tested it end to end, and it looks promising. And I believe even without the dependency on external reviewer, even like if the person will test it in his environment is great. But I think this PR is ready for merge. So if you can, like Michael, if you can take a look, it's mergeable right away, pretty much, because I added the Helm chart integration, I added the documentation, I tested it end to end, and you will be able to see it was in PR and like a documentation screenshot. The catch is simple, right? So integration means zone delegation, and zone delegation is automatically created. I tested that stuff in a end-to-end manner. So yeah. Yeah, I think like interesting. I was expecting to like the part of the screenshot to see both EU and US because I've seen it before, but yeah, it should be there. And let me check the documentation if I'm not hallucinating. So the preview of doc is here, right? And we have a Cloudflare integration. So pretty much step by step configuration. And yeah, that's a proper screenshot. So it mentions both European and US, like two cluster zone delegation automatically created. So it's great. And yeah, as I mentioned, please review. We can merge it right away. If anything, like happens on a consumer side, we can fix it up later on. But I don't see any reason why we should hold this PR because basically, effectively, it's a scoped. It doesn't have any capability for regression, and it enables a new functionality. So that's pretty much it. Thanks in advance for review. And what else? This is for Cloudflare support. And yeah, the pipelines. I will make a small intro, like observing like a lot of well, a lot of false positives, unfortunately, even somehow for unknown reason, more frequently than before. So for regular renovate issues, almost every time the stuff is failing on something like, with upgrade testing or similar. For your PR reader, it's unfortunately failing all the time, and it's not yet clear what
No,
is the reason, right?
yeah, to be
Uh,
honest, with this,
yeah,
all the work that I've been having with GCP, and this isn't, I haven't had any time available to work on this.
yeah,
I've also
sure.
had some vacation days, so I will try to bring some news until next meeting.
Yeah, that would be great, and definitely, like, we are having, like, yeah,
Because
best
because we will
performance.
need this to implement multi-cloud, because we are going to use JKE and AKS, so we definitely need this to implement our multi-cloud approach. So
So that is super interesting.
yeah,
Multi-cloud. Can you elaborate on that, because it sounds like a cool use case for k8gb in general, and it also smells like GCP support for k8gb. So does it mean that you're already working on it?
uh,
In a
we are
in you.
now building our building blocks for GCP.
Uh-huh.
So infrastructure, VPC, subnets, everything that is related with the basic infrastructure. The next
Okay.
step is to deploy our domain controllers and extend our domain from Azure to GCP. So it will be running VMs on both providers, but it will be the same Windows domain.
Same
So
abstraction. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that's the next step. When we have JKE running workloads, and then AKS, we'll be using k8gb for load balancing, of course, and failover between clusters running in Azure and GCP. But it's
Yeah.
still it will take some time to get there, but that's our main goal. So we are currently building all the building blocks and then building everything above that.
Yeah, that's super cool. And for GCP, like, we still need to add like a kind of native support, but I know, like, as usual in a k8gb, you can just configure manually zone delegation, right? And it will work. But for like to claim this fancy automated way, similar to what like a Cloudflare PR support, we will need to extend the Helm chart. And
Yeah.
overall, your use case sounds like a very cool reference architectures that we do not have yet in a project history documented, at least. So what I mean by that is, like, if you look at the Helm chart, what is that, like, values, right? So we have a bunch of HDNS providers like Infoblox, Route 53, NS1, RFC, and the Cloudflare is coming, right? So Azure is coming next, and then GCP as a next evolution stage. So after that, we will be able to safely say that k8gb supports all three hyperscalers. So it's a cool in general, right? But what is super interesting in your scenario is that we never tested it before. Correct me if I'm wrong, Michal. But we never tested, like, one k8gb is running with one HDNS provider and another k8gb instance, I don't know, running with another one like Infoblox. We
No.
didn't run it in practice before. I do not see any blockers for that, right? Because it just, external DNS integration should work. But we will need a reference architecture around it, and it looks like it's matching your scenario, Victor. So it would be cool, like, to have Azure, GCP, or even like is it even three or only two providers? So you're not using AWS, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
right now it will be only Azure and GCP. In
Yeah.
the future, we are also planning to have Azure Stack running on Azure HCI. So, but that will be
Yeah.
way way ahead. So One day it will be 3 providers at the same time. So one step at each time.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, so Michal, as a core maintainer, do you see any blockers for KGB to like not work just out of the box when we enable one HDNS provider in one cluster, another DNS provider, HDNS provider on another cluster, and they will standard like they will work in pair.
But
Mm.
now that you're talking about, it will be the same provider. It will be the RFC. What you say? We are
In
using
your case,
DNS.
in your case, it will be Windows DNS. Right. Okay,
It
so
will
it will
be
be just workload. It will be scattered.
We will
Okay,
be
got it.
using, of course, Azure private zones and
Mhm.
GCP DNS as well for private stuff,
Mhm.
cloud storage, things like that. But
Mhm.
we'll be using the Windows DNS to do this glue between providers.
Got it. Okay, interesting.
But it's something that we can also update the documentation once we have that. Right now it's only Azure, but once we have this multi-cloud approach, we can update also that documentation to have an example of how to run with Windows DNS on 2 different providers.
Yeah, that is interesting. Like overall, yeah, I mean, we can support, and we are really probably support like this kind of multiple combination, but not all of them are tested well, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because it's a lot of combinations. We'll need
mhm.
access to all providers and test all different stuff. So
Yeah. So Michael, what do you think? Apart from like like focusing on a single provider, like to enable like overall like a multi-cloud, it's definitely like a cool, reliable approach. But we also can test it out later on, right? Mixed mode as well. So
Well,
I don't see any
technically,
blocker.
it is possible. I don't see
Yeah.
any blocker as well
Yeah.
because all are RFC, so
Mhm.
it should be okay. They just should differ in configuration.
Yeah.
I'm just
So you will be just on
curious.
different
Yeah.
functional values on each cluster,
Yeah.
right?
Only
In
this
this case.
testing is
Yeah.
bit issue because you must have like environments prepared, the setup of the environments, and this could be like a blocker a little bit because the thing is large. Otherwise, it's
Yeah.
a good idea.
I have like like in a backlog idea to create some kind of global app abstraction with crossplay, like abstracting k8gb installation over multiple clusters. And like when you do into this crossplaying, you are offloading this kind of complexity once, and then you just consume an API. And that can be nice vehicle for the testing, right? So if you can deploy KGB and all the dependencies in one shot, right? So it simplifies a lot of things. So that I might work on that like as a part of my possible CFP for KeepCon next. So like I'm still evaluating what story I will pursue, but that anyway like sounds kind of useful stuff, and keep reference configurations in a cross-plane might be like effective way to do it, because currently the only reference configuration we have is just Route 53 with some stale Terraform code, right? So somewhere there, like a reference, implementation for a couple of VKS clusters. Definitely, like it's super old, and it used to be enough in the early stage. Now it's just too small for the product for KGB that supports multiple stuff, right? So maybe some creation of a reference cross-plane configuration will help to test and actually demonstrate the capabilities. So that's something might be useful. So I'll just assign myself. Yeah. So for pipelines, I do not see any other way how to just,
No,
find
it's
some
really,
time
yeah.
and yeah,
I have
dive in.
I have to reserve a couple of days to look at this, try to understand what's going on. But
Yeah,
and
thank you so much.
if I need something, I will ping.
Please ping because these
Yeah,
pipelines are very special. Yeah.
yeah, no worries. But it's definitely having a couple of days to stop working on GCP and other stuff and look at this with all the attention possible. So I will try to do that until next meeting.
Cool, amazing, thank you. And please ping me anytime. I'll also try to help us asynchronously. And one question to Michal. Do you have a good feeling about a local execution of a Terra test right now? Because I recall that, we had some troubles with the local execution a while ago, and I do not have confidence right now. What is the current state? I mean, because like obvious step to debug that stuff would be to reproduce the same pipeline execution locally, and everything is encapsulated with a make target, right? But I recall that we had some, some local specific perks or some environment deviation. It was failing.
Yeah.
That's
Sometimes in
yeah.
the locals, that's true. They always differ a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was regarding the execution of, it was regarding the race conditions. And
Yep.
they both are racing, but in the locally, I think they were racing a bit more. The thing is that it always a little bit change when we upgrade Terraform, not Terraform, Teratest.
Yeah.
So, and when the test grows, it was raising more and more. So there is still something that potentially could execute the race condition. The thing what we did, sometimes we found the race condition, sometimes not. And usually if you run test like 2 times or 3 times, definitely you should hit the green state, so you know that the thing is okay. It's just racing somewhere in the test.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this flakiness is a huge problem in general, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
It
Yeah,
is
I
it is a
dropped
big issue. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, now it's becoming more and more painful because of all the false positives and all the in almost every PR. So really, if you can solve it for good, it will help a lot.
Yeah.
Vitor, as you plan to look into that, I dropped in agenda the specific makefile lines that can serve as a good starting point for investigation, right? So that's how we are running our Terra tests, and they eventually in GitHub actions. This specific make target is getting invoked, right? So you can also double check with the GitHub invocation workflow derivative, but that's the main entry point, right? So that's a way to try to reproduce the same on your local machine and see how it behaves. And maybe in the best case scenario, you will see some thing to fix, right? Yeah, so to stabilize and yeah, it will clarify something.
Okay, thanks.
Sure, thank you. Thank you a lot for willing to look into that. Yeah, one thing with the race conditions, maybe you will not find a way, immediate way how to fix the race conditions, but what you might find quicker than that is why your specific PR is failing, right? The reason is hidden somewhere there, so it might pop up locally quicker than in a GitHub pipeline. So that's one of the main bet as well. So maybe some chart configurations that is not obvious, non-compliant for with the current state, something like that, So we can proceed gradually there because fixing the pipeline. Yeah,
just one thing.
yeah, please.
In the pipeline, Victor, you can see the log if you inspect the failed pipeline, you can extract the log, and basically if the error repeats or half of the test is failing, it's definitely something in the code, you know. Yeah, you can rather click on the cog on the top right. There is a cog.
You mean that?
Yeah, this one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
view raw logs.
Mm.
View raw. Yeah, this one is probably the best place to inspecting. And now you can search for error. You can search for error or fail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or fail.
So
Fail. Fail. Can you search for fail?
yep.
Yeah. And now you can see which tests are passing and failing, and you can read some details from the log. And if they are repeated, if you run, let's say 2 times, 3 times, and it's still the same, or how the tests are failing, it's definitely something in the code, you know, because the reasoning is that once you find it on one place, second time you find it in the different place, and you see, okay, probably it's racing, you know, because the tests are basically running in parallel, I guess now.
Yeah.
And basically potentially there are some like race conditions. But if it is like that, it's you have to find what's wrong in the code and fix that. That's it.
Thanks for the tips.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at it.
Yeah, but
Right.
is definitely tricky. I will also try to attack this, you know, overall pipeline situation, because basically the real reason is hidden behind a bunch of race condition things, right? So there is no clarity about the reasons there. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. We had a very useful discussion, and yeah, we have a good starting point. Last one for today. Nuna wrote in a Slack he wasn't able to attend, but on a he will work on a public DNS PR this week. Public DNS PR for Azure this week, so it will be like, you know, when we make a check mark on this one, it will be like, you know, another kind of native support for big hyperscaler, for Azure cloud, and the private DNS is anyway always a special story, right? So yeah, it's as we learned both in APSA and Millennium BCP, the private DNS in cloud providers, they treat it like something special, so they're not super easy to provide a native support tool. So like that's totally fine to start with a public one, and yeah, declare the public support, and then we can, you know, dive into private specific implementation like you are nicely doing in a Millennium BCP reader. So
yep.
All right, and I think we just perfect on time.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for joining.
Yeah. I just wanted to do one thing this week, and there is a quite large PR for the core DNS in the community from CRM plugin. So yeah, in the next iteration, I will look on this. I wanted to do it this
which
week,
one
but
is that?
didn't have time. It is, yeah.
This guy?
I think this one, yeah. It's 9 files. That guy also made a PR into.
Oh. Yeah. One already
k8gb.
merged, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that's something I need to definitely look on.
Cool stuff. Thanks, Michal.
Kuritka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And you mentioned that it's not the only one, right? So
No, it is only one. I know the second one was
Ah.
already merged by Dinar.
Yeah. So
I guess.
yeah, this one was before we
Yeah.
discussed it in the previous one. Yeah. That's cool. Nice. All right. Great stuff. Thank you so much,
Good.
guys, and
Yeah.
see you
Thanks,
in 2
guys.
weeks. And yeah, let's chat asynchronously anytime.
Okay. See you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good day. Cheers. Bye bye.
Bye.